The boxes were filled with smelly bone marrow. Unpleasantly, they began falling from the rock onto the cold concrete floor. We in the ward had gone upwards, towards the eastward-downward rodeo. However, we in the word of the day awarded blister infractions today only. Entered Denfolted, the tree whisperer, singer of mills, goals coordinator, and star reacher. In 1 second, she freed the 4 in between the 5 of 6, and 7/8 screamed 9 at 10 o'clock. Tonight, I will fully realize that the sun is in fact lost in space. He and others are running from their past, boiling water, and melting butter pecan ice cream. The instruction manuals sifted through nothing until there was something to sift through, and which they began to sift through something. They found the meaning of life, and an article on disastrous pharmaceutical products. Go in there to find what you always thought you would not think to feel around for the experience. If I time it correctly, I should be able to exert a force powerful enough to reach into the furthest reaches of the entrance. Some were red, and some were green. Others fled to will unseen. Your Majesty, she is guilty. You saw the number 5 sandwich label get gobbled up. I guess that makes sense. Such is the poor man's ordeal. Fortunately, it was dead, which meant its velocity would not change until acted upon by an external force. It gleamed verdantly along the side, but blocked all hate comments from having a blast. Speaking of blasting, why don't we blast these wax stamps to the stars? They read gibberish, and only one discernible word remained. Strikebreaker. Strikebreakers are often known as the putrid leaders of returning mixtures. Push them back such that they never recover from their newly gained opinion on a direction. The Great Beverage War began upon the promise of carbonation. This led to a chain of events consisting of several pourings and irremovable carpet stains. Randy remembered why touching the walls was a bad idea. Since there were no more tiles, making contact with the warm-colored paints caused instant death. Which kind of death was it? The kind of death was instant. Recent studies reveal the true reason for Milligan's auxiliaries. I was lost in the twisted cardiovascular system of Tar. The last time my friends passed through ventricle 4546B was around the same time the first visitor showed up. The sharp suit and orange smell attracted a few cats to the scene, who were swiftly dealt with by drilling holes in their sides with a rutabaga. Trail 2 was later put on lockdown due to unknown tremors in the area. Without surprise, lackluster fools like the underground militia invaded a few low-rises until every one of their caps was knocked off their heads accidentally by low-hanging door frames. Next doofus that leaves their shoes in the fax machine gets stuffed in it. I'm tired of having to spray all these plants with Mountain Dew. You will only be warned once that 12 bear traps have already made their way to each of your doorsteps for recreational use. You have 5 hours to prepare for the sand. We may have extras on Monday, so just wait for Andy to send out the list of prions. Before you go, the blood machine is on the 2nd floor tomorrow, so take the elevator in the far corner. I couldn't see the words on the sign, which was unreadable because I could not read the words on the sign next to it, which, inconveniently, was also indiscernible. It read, "Party in 3 minutes." I would later regret not being able to read it, or the adjacent one. Cycling season is over. There was no such thing as cycling season anyway. Looking at the recording brings no justice to the dilemma on whether the neighborhood even had cyclists in the first place. Spotter Group A posted an interesting image of an octocycle, which they describe as nothing like the burger joint, because the burger joint has burgers and tables, and this disappointment did not. Spotter Group A was absent at the town channeling this morning, which leads speculators to speculate that other speculators who are not as keen on speculating professionalism to speculate that Spotter Group A is mutilated horribly. It has been nearly 30 years since Jello left the scene. Rotate the last one and pull the first one up to level. Hello, vast ocean people. When did you get here? Big O left. Recommend to one person you don't enjoy eating spaghetti with sword fighting, such that they lose and tragically become an eviscerated lump of chemicals. This will prove useful when chasing the knock blocks on the rock. The letter S has sadly stooped substantially since sundown. 9 uses remain. This cityscape was peaceful until one particular building began hating on the streets below it and dropped bricks on unsuspecting baby strollers, which promptly turned a bright sunflower. Beneath the cobblestone streets lay several miles of cavernous IKEA displays with a few thousand tourists and 0 employees. The lack of supervision is the suspected culprit for graffiti and smeared table sauce in the lighting section. In the tunnels, there is only one blue bed that is constantly moving between rooms when nobody looks. The rest appear to be intangible. Indiana State University is located in Ohio now. The same goes for Illinois State University, the University of Chicago, Iowa State University, Webster University, Purdue University, the University of Kentucky, the University of Louisville, the University of Michigan Dearborn, Judson University, Lewis University, Elmhurst University, Governors State University, Ball State University, and finally, Grand Valley State University. Listen here, you atrophied slime paste. Analog clocks don't need to wait for you. Just lift yourself into the second railroad track and plant the electrons. Anderson has already put his breaker on. Come on! The pebbles were strewn about on the glass casing, so we cannot walk right in. This also means there are no more spots left for smashings. I, for one, greatly appreciate and dislike how disproportionate rendering artifacts interrupt the casual playthrough of the grappling hook waste. Hidden above the ceiling must have been Johnson Walter West's fortune. Drone services are currently spilling beans about the allegedly illegal crop shortage. Stupid dog supplier! It's prime time to rain warts on the enemy. Zoo staff warns pedestrians that sidewalk chalk discoloration will cause one also to become discolored over the previous inspections. Followers of the Zarn, I come today, bearing hardship and impending flatulence. The barn will open at her command, and all the riches in the world will cease to procreate. The song we are listening to is essential for our vests. One exception is the Deluxe Inn, which was buoyed and lifted into the distant downstairs pruner. It went all the way till it reached the sky, because the sky is the limit. The bottom limit, that is. Finna pull a rager tonight, he yawned, drooping over the edge of the L couch, and before he knew it, The Plato village workers invaded his own private domicile and became morbidly harassed. How cumbersome. They gave up after winning. The following list is not related to any of your family members or their cucumbers. Bakery. Jalapeno. So-so. Track fighting. Energy. The letter Q. Bus route. The letter after Q, whatever that is. Cucumber, not included. General Kenobi. The man behind the slaughter. DGR. New Zealand is the winner of this month's caterpillar race. They managed to secure the dreaded omelette pie and eat everything. There was more or less a reckoning during the earlier hazards. Forget it. Now playing a little less action by Checkette. The corner liability. Give me jungle, this is a second. I am probably going to Wyoming before the afternoon. The seasons are short, so keep your port in the windowsill for later. Your Indian food tastes good, so don't wait for it anymore. Lester is back with his mac and cheese and bacon on the grease. Sooner or later, the animal hater can access pain again. The water is hotter, I can't keep on out of eruption by thy knees. Oh please, just please, have another mother for me. Wow. We now return to what is certainly insane. Hamburgers and hot dogs have finally struck a deal where each side pretends to be the other for a day. It never actually happened since the two did not switch, but we cannot know for sure until extensive research is made. Jeremiah James was last seen dead on the road by the telephone pole. However, the resident shellfish population has made a formal complaint that they see him walking across Fun Street every second morning. It seems the rumors were true. Huh? Oh, I'm not talking about Jeremiah, silly. Speaking of old Jeremiah, wasn't he last seen dead on the road by the telephone pole, but the shellfish have something to say about it? It's weird. This is all very straightforward with the absolute destruction of the town hall. It is not quite upon us. It is upon us. I remember seeing the walls fall back, leaving nothing but the screams of the reattached. This time, though, it was G sharp. Pam was left behind at 9 o'clock, just before the hit. Others were hidden nearby, which almost caused an uproar in the crab room. My view began to change rapidly and without a pattern. First, each corner became an edge, with nearly 1,700 disc tracks lining the filament outside. Far deeper, there were no more shops within the proper distance, and the baseball came for the questionnaire. Just before I could touch even one of the buckets, Gregory Prime and all of the drops filled the hyperbola and mashed every potato and non-potato to smithereens. There were no cartons, no Easter Bunny, no crocodile juice bar, and no aqueduct connecting the trilogies. Lipids, carbs, proteins, and nucleic acids were saving the game. Underneath my head, trees made their way into the water park. How about some real chaos? Not yet, not ever. The befallen warrior tribe has lost their bars, both in between the rift and lakeside. Oh. And now, gentlemen and ladies, I give to you